Welcome back, guys, to yet another episode in the WoW Token Challenge for, of course, earning ourselves a token in Durotar alone. This is another episode. We got a lot of stuff to do today and a bunch of things to go over. I have found a couple of new things that I've been kind of spending a little bit of time on, so you'll be able to see that very soon. But other than that, we haven't really spent much time on different stuff compared to what we've done in the previous episodes. There is a new milestone that we have reached, which you will also see more of later in the episode. But instead of just yapping like this, should we get started? As always, for this episode, we are also doing a giveaway of 2-month game time. And if you want to participate or join in the giveaway, all you have to do is like the video and then drop a comment down below the video about something you're currently enjoying in the game. Or maybe something about progress on your own challenge if you're doing something similar. Love to talk about it. It's what we do for every episode, and I appreciate you guys for the support and watching along. But let's get further on into the video. For this episode, I wanted to show the process of 10 full runs of Ragefire Chasm. Now, my plan is overall to just record the whole thing, speed it up so you guys can watch the progress. And then every time that we do something with the inventory or we move some things around, I'll talk a little bit about what items we keep, what items we don't keep, and then what we do with the materials. I know I've gone over it a couple of times in segmented pieces in some of the previous episodes, but this way you get a full view of 10 runs and what I do while actually doing those 10 runs. So hopefully that makes sense, and enjoy. Our bag is currently a little bit full, and what I do around this time is I get rid of some items. Now, when it comes to these grays and these white pieces of fog, if I already have quite a lot in terms of duplicates, they will get vendored. I don't want to mark them as trash because I don't want to accidentally vendor them if I am reposting my auctions or something like that. So I just go through and manually check it and see if there's any of them I want to keep. We obviously can't disenchant them, so this is our only option. The other thing that you saw is that we had some weapons here. When it comes to the blue weapons, at least from Ragefire Chasm, I personally think it is worth a little bit more to just vendor them straight up, because as you can see, when we're disenchanting these items, we could just be getting large brilliant shards, and one of these is worth about 60 silver. Obviously, if you get multiple, it's pretty good. And the other great thing about disenchanting these blues is that you get the other enchanting materials as well. And that's kind of like where you want to be if you get lucky. We're getting pretty unlucky here. That's actually kind of insane, but I wanted to show you guys. I'm just not. Are you not going to allow me, game? You're not going to allow me. Okay, but regardless, there it is. There is one of the other ones. Rich illusion dust. You can see it in my inventory. The other one is these greater eternal essences. You've seen me sell them all the time on the auction house. This is how we have been farming this, and I can already tell you that there's quite a lot of it in our mailbox at the moment. But all the blues get disenchanted except the weapons. Those I usually tend to just straight up vendor, just because they have, between 2 to 3 gold in vendor sell rates. So obviously if we end up getting a greater eternal essence out of disenchanting a weapon, it's still worth it, because one of these are worth somewhere between 8 to 11 gold. So it's super nice. But we have so many other blues, and it's guaranteed to get gold, a little bit more gold, especially if we were getting large brilliant shards. I'm sure there is some math that we could do to figure out which one is worth more than the other. But anyway, that's how we're doing it. When it comes to the greens, I actually keep every single green there is. If we have a lot of duplicates, as you can see on these ones, I disenchant them. When you consider the low sell rate on a lot of these items, you can't expect to be able to sell too many of these. And since we're not going to be in Durotar for months and months and months on end, the chances of us actually, you know, spending proper time on selling some of these items that have a couple hundred gold in value, I think it is worth way more. As you can see, we got a lot of the greater eternal essences because we're disenchanting green weapons. They seem to have a higher chance. But regardless, getting this, right, 4 of these is about 40 gold, which is super worth it, right? Instead of having duplicates on the auction house that you post 1,000,000 times and get almost nothing for. So I absolutely think that that's the way to go. Now, we do have some items here that I don't have any duplicates of, so we are going to keep those. And it might also, I might actually have duplicates of them, but just not this particular version. So if I end up walking over to the auction house and figuring that out, well, then I am, of course, going to disenchant it. But usually, if the item is worth less than 100 gold, I will mostly just disenchant it at this point. Just to keep the amount of time that we actually also spend in the auction house a little bit low, because it is usually, it's quite a lot of time that we spend there, both on posting but also on reposting, and we want to spend as much time farming as possible. But I'm gonna stop yapping now so we can continue the rest of these runs, and we can look at what the final results are. Ten runs have been completed, and we are going to empty out our inventory a little bit here, and then we can take our final looks. And as I said before, all the items that we have a reasonable amount of duplicates of, we are straight up vendoring, unless it is greens, of course. Because if it is greens, well, here's the one that's under 100 gold value, so we're just gonna go ahead and disenchant that one. It's another blue. It's a green we currently don't have, but it only has a 10 gold value, 11 almost. We're going to disenchant that. Same thing goes for this one. Boom. And vendor the rest of this. 34 gold. Gonna disenchant it just because. Any other? Disenchant this one as well. And then this gun and this axe. This goes bye-bye. As the shield, we'll keep it. And then the rest of this gets disenchanted. Now, you can see that the currency looted that we've had is 651, and that is pure raw gold. Now, on top of that, for the items that we've vendored, I would wager that we've gotten approximately 100 gold, so it's about 750. And then, on top of that, when we're about finished here, we can talk about the greens. We did get one recipe that we've actually sold one off before, but as you can see, we currently have 5 of it on the auction house. It's not that big of a deal, but we have been able to sell one for 142 gold before, so we'll count it. Now, we did get one chest piece here for 227 gold, Then we also got another Discipline's Robe here, which actually has a market value of 49 gold. So it seems like it's recently been brought up a little bit. So I actually think this is a maybe. We'll hold on to it for now. If the price is still good, we'll post it, just because the region sale rate is 0.022, which is decent enough. You can probably sell pretty quickly. So we'll hold on to that. Then there's also this one, Pioneer Tunic, and this one goes as well. The market value is kind of low, but it's recently gone up. And then the best one out of all of these is the Journeyman's Vest. It is a pretty decent item. It doesn't look like, it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty decent. But overall, we're not keeping this for the looks for ourselves, but rather on the auction house. It has a decent value. The region sale rate is 0.012, which is pretty reasonable for a lot of transmogs, so we take those. So if we count this into it, and the region sale average is actually 300 gold. So if we just say that, we'll put this up to a little over 1,000 gold, with the possibility of these. This one is probably also a couple hundred gold. So if we're being at least somewhat reasonable, we'll call it 1,200 gold so far. And then we also got 317 linen cloth. Now with linen cloth, we would make these into bolts, and then after we would be disenchanting the heavy linen gloves. Now the heavy linen gloves, they can get these, the lesser magic essences and the greater magic essences. They will also be able to get the strange dust. Now if you just look at these, you'll see that TSM says that the disenchant value is about 1 gold 74 silver, which is, I want to say, pretty accurate, because of how much strange dust you get, and then also for the lesser magic essences or the greater ones. But still, we go from having something that is worth maybe 20 gold at most, right, if we're talking about the high value of linen cloth, and we turn it into 1 gold 75 silver, maybe even 2 gold. Pretty reasonable. And you know, having some time to AFK once you've done, you know, maybe 20-30 runs or something, having some time to AFK, craft some bolts, and come back and do some disenchanting is pretty nice. So again, let's say that that's a possibility. That's about 75 crafts, so we'll say another maybe 100 gold on top of that. So what, 1,400 or something? Then we also have these, which 7 gold, that's another 100, so 1,500, maybe 1,600 here. And then we have another 500 gold. I want to say these are probably more around 10 gold at the moment, but we'll call it 500 because auction house cuts. So that puts the total value of these last 10 runs at about 2,000 gold. Now, I obviously didn't stop the timer here, but at a really good setup, it takes us about 40 minutes. So if you consider that, we made in value, but also most of it is raw gold. The materials are really consistent gold. So it's pretty good. Even if we cut out the we remove 500 gold and we only consider this the materials and the actual raw gold, it's still really good. Because if you look at the 2K for 40 minutes, well, 20 additional minutes, it would be another 1,000 gold. So it'd be 3,000 an hour. We can't do much better than that if we do mining and herbalism. However, it is nice to swap things up, and then I also get to do some of the rare rotations, and if we have run out of any of the open world drops, it's also a good idea to do that. But other than that, that's the usual rotation, so you guys can see, like, this is how we do it. This is a good average of how much we're getting. Obviously, the enchanting materials could be way different for the next 10 runs. It actually usually is, either higher, lower, or about the same. It can change quite a lot. And the same thing goes for the green items, right? You can see that there's some of these I don't even have, right? This Journeyman's Vest, this is the first one that I've seen, and I've done close to 200 runs of Ragefire Chasm now, so it's a big deal. Oh, and here we are. We're selling some we're selling some gateway control shards as we're speaking, and I actually had 3 posted. So I'm gonna jump over here real quick to the vendor. There's multiple vendors that actually sell these. So that's nice. We've been able to sell a good amount of these, which is really, really cool. We're going to go over and post this straight up on the auction house, and we'll continue about our farming. Something that we will be doing is a little new. It's not really insane, but we will do the daily quest that pops up here from cooking dailies, basically. If we have an opportunity to do it within Orgrimmar or Durotar, we will be doing it. If not, we won't. The one we had to do today, we had to kill 3 mobs around in Orgrimmar, so that's fine. And then we got one of the awards, which we can use right here, one of these awards, and I bought imported supplies. There's also the crate of tasty meat, but as far as I can tell, this is not worth it because the meat is worth silver, and it also takes 2 of these to be able to open one. So we don't care much for that. And since we can't move into any other zones, we're buying imported supplies. Because these recipes, they're all Cataclysm related, as far as I can tell. And even if they were Classic related, the good recipes, we will not have access to it yet. But imported supplies, it can open anywhere from 5 to 55 of these, which are cocoa beans. So, pretty awesome. These, you know, it's not that much value, but they have a region average daily sold of 332. So they should sell at a reasonable rate, and we get access to one of these every day. And right now they're posted for 1 gold, 75 silver, so we get an extra 70 gold. Not anything big, not anything particular, but it is a nice bonus. And also for completing the quest, we actually got 23 gold as a reward. So we take that as well on top. So I wanted to feature another one of these daily cooking quests, just so you guys can see another one of the rewards. So I'm quickly going to finish up this quest, and I'll be right back with you opening the bag. Here we have it, and we're going to go ahead and complete the quest. Got ourselves 23 gold. Lovely. And then we open up the vendor as previous. Buy one of these, and we get ourselves 47 cocoa beans. So this one is not too bad either. We have been able to sell the previous ones because obviously that was for another day. Gonna go right on the auction house for 2 gold, and you know, it's not anything crazy to look at, but getting 23 raw gold and then 90 gold in auction house posted value, and they did sell, and these probably also will sell. So, you know, I take it. If we can get something out of it, why not? It's really, really simple, really fast, and it also makes sure that we progress a little bit in cooking, because once we get to future zones, we're probably going to start using that a lot more. Guys, we have finally done it. We have reached an awesome milestone. You are not going to believe it. You thought we were already at a token? No! We still got plenty of farming left. Okay, I'm sorry. I swear I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Anyway. Anyway. Here is the mailbox. We have a couple of interesting sales route here. You can already see some of it. But what we actually have been spending time on since the last episode has mostly been reposts on the auction house and Ragefire Chasm. That's most of what we spent time on, and as you've seen earlier in the episode, I kind of explained what the gold per hour from that dungeon is like. And I also really like it just because it's really simple to just go ahead and farm a couple of runs and turn your brain off and run through all of that and clean out your inventory, go over, post on the auction house, and run straight back into the dungeon. Now, it's not perfect, but as we did a bunch of gathering, we swapped over to this as well, and it's been good stuff. So let's go over a couple of the sales. As you can see, we are all over the place, but there's a lot of enchanting materials scattered throughout here. Some we posted in bigger portions, since we didn't. Here we have multiple buyers on 992, but something that you can see, which I actually also showed last episode, we have gateway control shards here, and we have 14 of them. This is a lot, okay? It is only 218 gold, and by that I mean we buy this for 135, so that's what, 65 plus 18, so 83 gold, but still 83 times 14 is, you know, it's not a small amount to think about, right? It's about 1200 gold, 1200 gold. It's a pretty cool amount that we can actually make from buying something off a vendor, posting it on the auction house, and selling it. I will absolutely take it because it saves us quite a lot of time. Those are quite awesome. But besides that, we have a couple of interesting sales here. We have some ancestral boots for 1,000 gold. This is a white item. And we have the primal belt for 2,375 gold. Also a white item. Very awesome to see a sale like that. And besides that, we don't really have anything in particular out of like actual gear pieces. We do have a strong fishing pole here that we bought off a vendor. I actually don't think I restocked this. So that's something that I'm going to have to run over and buy a new one off because we don't buy it for very much. So that's pretty cool to see. And then there's the grizzly belt, which is another white item. And the warped leather boots, I think those are greens. But again, really awesome to see a rusty warhammer for 103 gold. But again, the overall milestone that we reached for this video is we are over 100k. This is great. There's still quite a long way to get up to the token, which is currently at 356k. So we'll see whenever we get close to that number, what will be the final thing that we focus on. But as you can see, we are at 107,866 gold. Awesome milestone. As for the slash played, we are currently at 3 days, 1 hour, and 24 minutes. So as you can tell, we have spent an astronomical amount of time on this challenge compared to how much gold we've earned. But if you've been following along in the last couple of episodes, you're going to be able to notice that the gold per hour is considerably higher than it was in the beginning of the challenge. And that is simply just because we've been able to really focus in on what we're doing for our gold making and for our farming. So I'm really happy about this number, honestly, because it puts us at what is that, 73 and a half? Yeah, that's 73 hours. So if you take 108k and you divide that by 73, that's only 1,500, right? But our gold per hour is still pretty decent considering everything we're doing. We're spending time posting on the auction house, so time spent farming. And if you cut out some of the early hours, the first 10 to 20 hours of, you know, setting up and figuring out all the farms, well, that's kind of where it's at. I would wager that our real gold per hour at the moment is about 2,000 to 3,000 gold. So if we continue at this pace, right, we are currently, let's just say it's 350 gold, 350,000 we need to get to. So at the moment we're, what, 242k, 242k away from that. So that will be divided by, let's just say 2,500. So we are currently 97 hours away from that if we are talking a consistent gold per hour. This could obviously change if we get any big ticket sales on the auction house. And you did see that in the mailbox, we did actually have a couple of decent white and green mock item sales. So the more we get on that, the better. And I also want to show you guys right here, if we go on the auction house and we look at some of the highest value items, we do have a lot of items here that are posted for thousands of gold. And if you compare it to their regional market value and their market value and also some of their region sale averages, it's not that outrageous. So I'm really hoping for some great sales on this, some flippers to come around, because that would be awesome to see. We actually have some more sales coming through, so that's a little bit of a sneak peek in next week's episode. If there's anything that you guys would like for me to show this week, I decided to show 10 runs of Ragefire Chasm. But if you want to see a little bit more of the farming route, right, for mining and herbalism, I'd love to show that in an episode. We're getting to the point where the real culprit is basically just doing these farms over and over and over again, because we don't really have many other options for gold making. I think we've pretty much crossed everything that we can. So if you guys have any good ideas, make sure to let me know what those could be. Otherwise, whenever we have a considerable amount of gold in the auction house for sold items, I will of course make an episode and talk to you guys about the progress, show a little bit of what we've done, and, you know, the usual. But I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're getting closer and closer to our overall goal, and I really, really appreciate you guys for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one.